and then I will share the screen. So we started talking about the 4. Oh, I shared the wrong thing. You guys just want to look at my Zoom. I think we started talking about the 4
What again?
divisions of social order.
Now you're back on. Oh, there you are. There's the text.
Yeah, I wanted to move it over. Now I'm opening my Kindle. I'm just hitting every button on my computer right now.
That's good. That'll work.
So
Yeah.
there they are. So Amanda was explaining yesterday into the 4 divisions of social order: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vasaya, and Sudra. So I'm going to start reading from there. Let me read from the computer. The Brahmana class, or intelligent class, is working in one way. The Kshatriya, or administrative class, is working in another way. And the mercantile class and the laborers are all tending to their specific duties. In the human society, whether one is a laborer, merchant, warrior, administrator, or farmer, or even if one belongs to the highest class and is a literary man, a scientist, or a theologian, he has to work in order to maintain his existence. The Lord therefore tells Arjuna that he need not give up his occupation, but while he is engaged in his occupation, he should remember Krishna. If he doesn't practice remembering Krishna while he's struggling for existence, then it will not be possible for him to remember Krishna at the time of death. Lord Chaitanya also advises this. He says that one should practice remembering the Lord by chanting the names of the Lord always. The names of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. So Lord Krishna's instructions to Arjuna to remember me and Lord Chaitanya's injunction to always chant the names of Lord Krishna are the same instruction. There is no difference because Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. In the absolute status, there is no difference between reference and referent. Therefore, we have to practice remembering the Lord always, 24 hours a day, by chanting his names and molding our life's activities in such a way that we can remember him always. How is this possible? The Archayas give the following example. If a married woman is attached to another man, or if a man has attachment for a woman other than his wife, then the attachment is to be considered very strong. One with such an attachment is always thinking about the loved one. The wife who is thinking of her lover is always thinking of meeting him, even when she is carrying out her household chores. In fact, she carries out her household work even more carefully so her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the supreme lover, Sri Krishna, at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. A strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty at the same time remember him. But we have to develop that sense of love. Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was the constant companion of Krishna, and at the same time, he was a warrior. Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest to meditate. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, Arjuna says that the practice of this system is not possible for him. Arjuna uvaka yo yam yogas tavaya prokta samyana madhu sadadana. Ataya sayam na pasayami kaltavat stitam stitram. Arjuna said, "O Madhu Sadhana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady." But the Lord says, "Yoginam apai sarasyam mad gati nataratamana shradyavan bhajante yomam sat mi yuk tatamo mata." Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith worshiping me in transcendental loving service is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So one who thinks of the Supreme Lord is the greatest yogi, the supermost jnani, and the greatest devotee at the same time. The Lord further tells Arjuna that as a Kshatriya, he cannot give up his fighting. But if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he will be able to remember him at the time of death. But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. We work not with our body, actually, but with our mind and intelligence. So if the intelligence and the mind are always engaged in this thought of Supreme Lord, then naturally the senses are also engaged in his service. Superficially, at least, the activities of the senses remain the same, but the consciousness is changed. The Bhagavad Gita teaches one how to absorb the mind and intelligence in the Lord, in the thought of the Lord. Such absorption will enable one to transfer to the kingdom of the Lord. If the mind is engaged in Krishna's service, then the senses are automatically engaged in his service. This is the art, and this is also the secret to the Bhagavad Gita. Total absorption in the thought of Sri Krishna. Modern man has struggled very hard to reach the moon, but he has not tried very hard to elevate himself spiritually. I feel like we should underline that sentence and put it in bold. If one has 50 years of life ahead of him, he should engage that brief time in cultivating this practice of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This practice of the devotional process of Sri Vanam Kirtanam Vishnu Samaranam Pada Savanam Arkatanam Vananam Dasayam Sakyayam Atma Nivedam. These 9 processes, of which the easiest is Shrivanam, hearing Bhagavad Gita from the realized person, will turn one to the thought of the Supreme Being. This will lead to Niskala, remembering the Supreme Lord, and will enable one, upon leaving the body, to attain a spiritual body, which is just fit for association with the Supreme Lord. The Lord further says, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Satasa Nanya Gamana Paramam Purusama Divyam Yati Partha Nusi Chayan. By practicing this remembering without being deviated, thinking ever of the Supreme Godhead, one is sure to achieve the planet of the divine, the Supreme Personality, O son of Kunti. This is not a very difficult process. However, one must learn it from an experienced person, from one who is already in the practice. The mind is always flying to this and that, but one must always practice concentrating the mind on the form of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, or on the sound of his name. The mind is naturally restless, going hither and thither, but it can rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. One must thus meditate on Paramam Purusama, the Supreme Person, and thus attain him. The ways and the means for ultimate realization, ultimate attainment are stated in the Bhagavad Gita, and the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. No one is barred out. All classes of men can approach the Lord by thinking of him, for hearing and thinking of him is possible for everyone. The Lord further says, Mam Hai Partha Vaya Pastriya Yi Pi Sayu Papa Yonaya Shritayo Yas Vasyas Tatha Shruda Te Pi Yanti Paramam Gatam Kim Puna Pramana Punya Bhakta Vajarsayas Tatha Anitam Asukham Lokam Imam Prapaya Vaijasva Mam. O son of Pritha, anyone who will take shelter in me, whether a woman or a merchant or one born in a low family, can yet approach the supreme destination. How much greater than the Brahmanas, the righteous, the devotees, and the saintly kings? In this miserable world, these are fixed in devotional service to the Lord. Human beings, even in the lower statuses of life, a merchant, a woman, or a laborer, oh boy. It's saying woman is in the lower statuses of life, can attain the supreme. One does not need highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts the principle of bhakti yoga and accepts the Supreme Lord as the sumanam bonum of life, as the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. If one adopts this principle enunciated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a perfect solution to all the problems of life which arise out of the transient nature of material existence. This is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita. In conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. It is capable of saving one from all fear. Naya vikrama nasa stri pratyavayo na vityati svalpam api asaya dharma asaya trayati mahato bayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. If one reads Bhagavad Gita sincerely and seriously, then all the reactions of his past misdeeds will not react upon him. In the last portion of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna proclaims, Sarva Dharmanan Parit Yaja Mam Ekam Saranam Varja Aham Tavam Sarva Papi Bayo Mok Sayashyami Ma Sukha. Give up all varieties of religiousness and just surrender unto me. And in return, I shall protect you from all sinful reactions. Therefore, you have nothing to fear. Thus, the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders unto him, and he indemnifies all the reactions of sins. One cleanses himself daily by taking a bath in water, but one who takes his bath only once in the sacred Ganges water of the Bhagavad Gita cleanses away all the dirt of the material life. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one not need read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read the Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, mankind is so absorbed with mundane activities that it is not possible to read all the Vedic literatures, but this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures and because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that the one who drinks the water of the Ganges certainly gets salvation, but what to speak of one who drinks the waters of Bhagavad Gita? Gita is the very nectar of the Mahabharata spoken by Vishnu himself. For Lord Krishna is the original Vishnu. It is nectar emanating from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ganges is said to be emanating from the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, there is no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Supreme Lord, but in our position, we can appreciate that Bhagavad Gita is even more important than the Ganges. The Bhagavad Gita is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna, who is a cowherd boy, is milking this cow. The milk is the essence of the Vedas, and Arjuna is just like a calf. The wise men, the great sages, and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of the Bhagavad Gita. In this present day, man is very eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. So let there be one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad Gita, and let there be one God only for the whole world, Sri Krishna, and one mantra only, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare. I'm reading it wrong. Hold on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And let there be one work only, the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The disciplic succession. Avam para pratam imam rajasaya vidu. This is Bhagavad Gita as it is received through the disciplic succession. Oh my goodness, I almost read, thanks Sue. I almost read cannot find image file. So I guess, let me see. I don't know if there's pictures even in my book. There's pictures in the middle of my book. Let's see. I don't even think that they match what they're saying here. So this must be a different version. I will leave it to you guys if you guys want to Google it or something. So there's the Pakatattva, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his principal associates, Srila Thakur Bhakti Node, the pioneer of the program to benedict the entire world with Krishna consciousness, Srila Guru Kishoro Das Babijai Maharaja, the spiritual master of Srilala Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, an intimate student of Srila Thakur Bhakti Node. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja, the spiritual master of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and foremost scholar and devotee in the recent age. So that is, I guess we finished the introduction. I think I will pause there. Since we ran over yesterday, we'll have a discussion and we'll start. I think Amanda was calling them the slokas. We'll start sloka 1 on Monday.
I love the idea that the whole world could have one text. Forget about all the religions and the whole world have one text to go by. I just think there's so many wars fought in the name of religion.
See, I disagree. I don't like the idea because that feels very dictatorship to me. Like we have to have it this way or no way. And the fact that they even were like women are the lesser class. Like this is still not maybe there should be one, but it shouldn't be this one because this one's still outdated.
Well, but that's the commentary on it. Maybe the actual text would be the text.
That's what I mean. So whose commentary are we supposed to listen to? What I
right. Well, maybe there can be a more modern thinking because when that I'm not sure when this commentary was written, but
I think in the 70s.
And the Indian caste system is problematic also. I come from a place, I don't know, I think might have said this before in this group, but I come in the west of Scotland. Public schools are divided by religion. And so, I could play with the children across the street after school, but I couldn't go to school with them because we were different religions. And it's still that way. Even now it's still that way, which is just, it just begins, at 4 or 5 years old. It begins that mentality in children that, there is a division and there's not.
No.
And, in the north of Ireland, which is very similar to Scotland, there was fighting over that. There was a lot of, there was wars. And it's all over the world, over religion, in the name of religion, because it's not really religion, but, in the name of that. It's just.
But I think Pam has a very good point, which is that every religion has a text which they feel would suffice for the entire world, no matter who the people are, no matter what their environment is, no matter how they're living, no matter what the geography is. And the truth is, well, not necessarily the truth. Okay, the way that makes sense to me is that these are differences that are to be celebrated. For some reason, these differences exist, and they can be quite exciting. And the difficulty is that the people turn the differences into divisiveness. Whether or not this is something that we can get past as a factor of being human, just like whales have to swim in the water, is this something that's a part of us that we can not get past, or is this something that we can get past? I don't know if you guys ever watched I wasn't a Trekkie, but I love Star Trek: The Next Generation, with Patrick Stewart. I think I loved it because of Patrick Stewart, but we'll go past that. In Star Trek: The Next Generation, the Earth is described as having solved a lot of these problems, and everyone has enough to eat. No one has insomnia. Everyone has, a place to live, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to walk into that television and say to Patrick Stewart, honey, you're skipping the 300 years it took to do that. How did you do that? Because I think that sort of addresses this. I am opposed to any text that says this is the text. I'm not opposed to the entire text itself, but it is, and it's still going on. It is not, the idea that there would be one way to live or one thing to follow for all of the different people and beings on earth is insane. And people are still saying that. So, I understand where Pam is coming from. I don't care so much about the woman thing because there are all sorts of texts that applaud women as equals, and they still treat their women like second-class citizens. So, you gotta walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
This is the very reason why I have issues with religion, because of this. So I always remember what they say at the end of Al-Anon meetings or Naranon or AA. They say, take what you like, leave what you don't.
Yep.
We've come a long way, and what we're all praying for, because I'm sure we all have the same goal, is just for people to be enlightened enough to know to do that. Leave. It's silly, the whole woman thing, and you only believe in one God, but let's stick to, spiritual growth and being kind to others and service.
Yeah. And you're right. Like this is just the introduction. These are just like this isn't what and I'm like, that's why I love yoga, because everyone's welcome. Like you can be whoever, and like I think instead of separating, you're Jewish, you're Christian. Like sometimes people tell me that, and I like kind of roll my eyes because I don't care what you are. Like I just want to know who you are as a person. Like and I get why people want to put themselves in those buckets. Like, oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Like it's like we feel good when we know what we are because we think it's who we are, but it's not really who we are. Like it's just like what we're taught what we are. And like
I think it's like people need to have that delineation to feel like they know who they are.
Yeah.
Right. But you need to have, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, I'm a Christian, or whatever it is. And I've moved away from that over the years. I like yoga because it is not a religion.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would laugh when I started yoga. I would go to this awesome class on a Sunday morning. It just happened to be on a Sunday morning. And I would come back and I would say to my husband, I feel like I've been to church. I haven't gone to church in a very long time. I grew up in the church and it was a lovely experience. It wasn't a negative experience for me as it was for my husband, but I've moved away from that. Probably because I have this problem with organized religion. Yeah. And so, but I felt like I got my fill of what I needed, just the way people do when they go to church or they go to wherever they go. They fill up. I remember one of my ministers when I was very young saying that in a sermon, that coming to church is like going to the gas station to fill up when you need to. And so I think I get that from yoga and I don't need it from anything else. And I think what I was saying because I agree with both of you, Pam and Sue and Alexandra, I agree that you take what you need and you leave what you don't. And after I said what I said and you disagreed, I see your point too. I think I just want they're not to be the
There needs
what I
to
experience. I just want there to be something that everybody can agree on, and that maybe that can just be, just try to be a good person.
yeah.
Just try to be the best person you can be, and that should be good enough for everybody. You know, and you don't need to call it any religion. Just try to be a good person.
Yep.
You know,
That's what everyone should take from it.
right?
I feel
From
like
whatever religion it is, and that's why, you know, all these multiple texts, and everybody can do that in their own way, trying to be a good person, because the way I try to be a good person is different than my husband, and it's different, that, you know, it's different for each person, and that's good too. But just to the best of your own ability.
yeah.
As long as the principles are there.
Right. Yeah.
Because my dad thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread, and he's so enlightened, and it's all in his head.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's good to be the one who knows, right?
so I mean, Jackie, I went back to this advanced book, the advanced, because I was gonna read it. So Alexandra, this is one of the required readings for yoga teacher training. I'm reading it now. I graduated in 17, so because it scared me. I tried to read it and I couldn't do it.
Why
But
did it scare you?
it's just like, it was like a lot of words. Like it's intense. It
too
was
much.
intense. It was what?
It's just too much. I mean, I read the second part of it, which was required for us in our yoga teacher training. I read it, but I read the words. Do you know what I mean? When you're reading words and you're not really getting it, I read the words because.
Jackie, I went and read it yesterday, and so there's 12 lessons, and it's meant to read one a month. This is what the author built the book for. It's a course that he made a book. And they're about 10, 12 pages long, but they take me about an hour to read. That's how dense this material is. So I was like, I'm just going to start reading it yesterday. I was working. I wound up reading the whole thing. I took an hour work break so I could read this, but I want to share. I loved it, Jackie. Like I was meant to read it now. I texted Amanda. I'm like, I couldn't put it down. It all makes sense to me now.
Wow.
So I highlighted this one section I'm going to share, and it ties so much to what we've all been talking about. He says, every man has his work to do in the world, and he should do it the best he knows how, should do it cheerfully, should do it intelligently. And he should have full expression that instinct which impels him to do things right, better than they have been done before. Not that he may triumph over others, but because the world needs things done better. And I love that.
Because the world,
like what Sue was just talking about with the Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like I think it's great. I love people celebrating different organized religions, but I think too many people are doing, especially like the Catholic Church type Sunday service, like they're going out of obligation. They're not like, I go to yoga class because I want to go to yoga class, and I feel good. I feel like Jackie when I walk out of there for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're going to yoga for obligation, you're not coming out of there feeling good. Like you're not present the whole time. You're thinking somewhere else. And so when you go to church, I don't agree that many people are filling up in this age, because they're going for the wrong reasons. And then they come out and they're not going in. Like, I'd rather people go volunteer for an hour on Sunday than go sit in a church pew so they could check it off on their list. That, you know, like that's the problem I have with people that I'm not going to fill in that sentence.
you know, I hear you, but I think I remember going to mass regularly, you know, raised Catholic like you, Jackie. And even people who are going there because it's important to be seen in attendance on a Sunday. And, you know, you wear your coat with a little fur collar because it's important to wear your best coat on a Sunday. But I remember, you know, first I was really furious and rebellious at it when I reached my teen years and you actually start thinking about stuff or thinking deeper. But then I remember thinking when I was older, you know, it's sort of like fake it till you make it, practice until it starts meaning something. It might be useful for some people, and even for some people to go to a place where they can't turn on the TV or the radio, where they have to sit and do something in unity with other people, stand up, sit down, kneel, you listen to the same music coming from the, choir loft up ahead and the organ, just to sit more or less quietly. Maybe that benefits 20% of the people who are there for all the wrong reasons and somehow helps them through their lives. So I think there's all sorts of benefits to it. It's just hard to separate the benefits from all of the negatives of that come out of that can come out of that kind of setting.
Right.
I think what needs to happen is we need to stop pushing this idea of one text and instead say, this is just one path. There's thousands out there and they're all okay. And it doesn't matter which one you take as long as you're on it, so that we can all just like respect each other more. And instead of saying, no, you're that, I'm this, like putting, so that there isn't one text, but that we're all at the end of the day. And I think this is what this book is teaching us. We're all celebrating the same higher God, or whatever you want to call it, universe unicorn.
I would disagree with one point. I don't think they're all okay. I mean, there are some texts out there.
Oh, that's true. You're probably right. You're right.
Yeah, and I think what it is that you respect where people are coming from and their attempts to understand the world through different things. But you recognize those differences, you respect the person as a human being, but then you enter into discussion. And you enter into work and working together to try to get through where is it that we disagree and why? Why does this one sentence, anybody as a lesser class, why does it bother me? And why is it there in the first place? And what does it really mean now? And what does it mean to you personally in your life? Because the only way anything changes is if each person picks up something and says, today I'm going to try harder in this area, So I think one of the problems with inclusiveness is in saying that it's all okay. It's not all okay. You're right. You got to start somewhere. So you got to start by listening.
Yeah.
So.
I have to say my feeling, however, is a little bit hurt, disappointed. I'm just trying to drop it. I didn't expect in a yogic text to be reading stuff like this.
Like what specifically?
About the classes and people being lower, and I'm the God and the woman is lower. I'm a little taken back by it. I mean, I'm doing what I do with other religion, taking, what I want from it and dropping it. But I'm shocked that even they were writing this in their text years ago. I didn't think that they were at the same level as other cultures.
Yeah. A lot of the yoga, it's very much like the Indian culture, which is that women are lower. Yeah.
I live in New Hyde Park, which is the jewel of India. And, some people have an issue with that. I love it. I think they're fantastic. And like I said, I'm always taking what I like and leaving what I don't like. Like I've gotten very close with several Indian families. And they're so gracious and loving and they honor the good thing. But then, what they do to the women, it's like, it's hard to swallow.
Yeah. All right, let's do some breath and meditate. Well, we got a long time to discuss this Gita, and I'm sure it'll all make sense at the end for everybody. And if not, then we start over. Or we just we surrender to that. We'll take a few rounds of alternate nostril breathing. I'm just taking a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose, beginning to lengthen the breath. Check in with the breath. Soften the face. Bring your right hand over to your nose. Close your right nostril with your thumb. Inhale through your left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Continuing like that on your own breath, adding locks and retention if it's in your practice. You can continue on with the alternate nostril breathing, or when you're done, you'll exhale out through the left nostril. I'm going to take a few rounds of bumblebee breath. If anyone wants to join me, you'll close your eyes with your pointer and your middle finger, and you'll close your ears with your thumbs. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose. As you exhale, you'll create a humming sound at the back of the throat, making the breath audible. You'll create a vibration inside. You'll take 3 to 5 rounds. I'm going to set the timer. You'll join us when you're ready if you're not already there. Bringing your hands to your heart. Namaste.